Hello investors, I'm Stuart, Kruse, and welcome to Market Mondays. Today's the first day with a new president, apparently. So, just like last time, in 2016, about half my clients were in despair, about half were unhappy, half were very happy, and I think the same thing can be said this time in 2020. About half are very upset, half are very happy about the outcome. But I'm not here to make any political statements. I'm here to try to advise you on what's the best course of action for your money. So the number one question I get is, what next? Now that Biden's going to be in office, he's proposed tax increases. Isn't that bad for the market? Should I get out? And the answer is, just like last time, no. And let's talk about why. Certainly, it is perceived that Republicans tend to be better for the stock market because they tend to be for more deregulation and they tend to be for lower taxes, which spurs economic activity. But the reality is that's not what we've seen with the numbers. And traditionally, when a Democrat takes office, they are always, or they have had tax increases on the table, but they've just been unable to increase the taxes at the rate that people feared, let's say. And consequently, the best returns have been under Democratic leadership. So let's actually go to some charts here. So here we have a sort, and I've showed you this chart before, but we've sorted by best overall returns by president, and the two leaders are Democrats, Clinton and Obama, with Eisenhower and Reagan number 3 and 4, then Truman, Bush, Johnson. They keep going back and forth. There actually has not been a Democratic president that has actually had a negative return during its session, or we can't say the same thing for Republicans. And the best combination of one-year market returns after an election is when a Democrat takes over the office from a Republican. And why is that? Well, can't get the tax raises, or we can't get the tax increases that we once thought. And particularly right now, the government is fighting over, the Republicans or Democrats are fighting over, quibbling over how much stimulus we're going to put into the marketplace. Are we going to put 1.8 trillion, 2 trillion, 2.3 trillion into the marketplace? They're not in a position to raise taxes. They are trying to stimulate the economy, given the spiking cases of COVID, given the large number of unemployment. We do have very healthy sectors of the economy that are great pockets, but certainly the majority of the economy is not doing that well. So we're trying to put money into the economy, and a tax increase, there's just no appetite for that anywhere, either in the public or private sector. So there's no way that's actually going to happen anytime soon, especially with the Fed keeping interest rates below basically zero for the foreseeable future and trying to stimulate. So the tax increase is pretty much off the table. And you have the House and the Senate that are also split. So there aren't going to be any radical changes. And that's what the market likes. They actually like a divided House or a divided government so that sweeping changes can't be passed, because the market wants stability and security and known factors. They don't want unknowns. They don't want to know whether there's going to be huge tax increases down the road. And this is all pretty evident by the futures. Now, when Biden was elected or announced as the president, the futures were up 100 points. Going into this morning, they were up 400 points for the Dow. And then, of course, Pfizer announced its great results in the vaccination, saying that it has a 90% effective rate, which is much higher than the 50% that was once hoped for. And so the markets are up 1,400 points, or maybe only up 12 or 1,300, but still humongous upside. But that upside happened prior to Pfizer's announcement. So clearly the market thinks everything's going to be fine with Joe Biden as president. And so I'm not here to make a political statement, just to advise you on your money. And what your money would say is, again, I'm going to go back over this chart here. If you were to look at the returns by party, so if you just invested during a red president $10,000 back to when Truman took office, you would end up with $65,000. And if you had invested with a blue president, a Democratic president, that $10,000 would have been worth $350,000 today. So Obama and Clinton had some really great years You can argue about why that was, but still the numbers are the numbers. Blue has tended to outperform red, but both are dwarfed by the fact that if you stayed fully invested, you would end up with $2.3 million. These are huge numbers. So if you picked one or the other, you would have done okay. If you picked them both, you would have outperformed by an order of magnitude. So the goal is, or the moral is, don't bet against America. It doesn't really matter whether it's a Democratic or Republican president. Don't bet against our economy. So stay invested and live your life with the odds in your favor.